Right. Okay, so it should be good. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to BSH Spiritual Healing Center. We are a non-denominational spiritist center, and here we respect all religions and spiritual traditions. So everybody's welcome to bring your thoughts, your questions. We are always studying and learning together. Before we start the announcements, we always begin our service with a prayer. So I would like to ask our brother Tony to come up and give our opening prayer. So please make sure your microphones are muted.
Let's all take one deep breath. Inhale and exhale. God, we want to thank you for giving us another day to study, to live, to love, to breathe on this earth. We want to thank you for all the spirits that are here to come teach us today, and everybody who made it and everybody who could not make it. We ask you, God, to open our minds and our hearts and to continue to use our feet and hands for the work that you want us to do in this world while we're here, in whatever capacity that is for each of us. And that you continue to bless us, all of us, with each gift that you have given and bestowed onto us while we're here. For our hands to grab the next question below. For our feet to help the next person cross that path. For our hearts, for loving and forgiving. We want to ask you to bless this session this morning and that you guide us, teach us, and that we become good students in this path of our life. So be it.
And so it is. Thank you, brother, for the beautiful prayer. Okay, so BSH is a member of the United States Spiritist Federation, and our spiritual beliefs are based around scientific, philosophical, and religious principles of Spiritism. And as Emmanuel, the spirit mentor of Chico Xavier, taught us, knowledge and love are the wings for our spiritual evolution. And that's the reason why the services are divided into two parts. First, we always have someone speaking and sharing findings from remarkable and qualified mediums and spirits. And it's really important that you participate since your mentor is already supporting you and your needs while you're hearing the insights from the speaker. So caring and working with these reflections along the week is what is really going to sustain the energy that you are already receiving while in the center. Then the second part is going to be a hands-on healing. That's where your mentor will be working with BSH mediums and benefactors for you to receive the healing energy that you are already receiving. Now I'm going to share my screen so then you can see all the opportunities that we have for us to be together along the week. So here you all should be able to see our schedule. So from Monday to Sunday, we have a daily prayer every day, 6 p.m. Pacific time. Everybody's welcome to join us. Come for 15, 20 minutes, and we pray for ourselves and for the world. So please join us. On Mondays, we have a closed internal healing services, and it's done by the BSH Medium Group. So if you or someone who you love is in need of any type of healing, please let us know. Send the person's name, what is the type of healing that he or she is in need, if it's a spirit or if it's physical, and we'll be happy to bring them for treatment. One of the things that we highly encourage is that during the treatment, the person is in tune with the spiritual mentor. So make sure that you read the gospel, meditate, and stay calm during the service, which takes from 6:30 to 8 p.m. every Monday. On Tuesdays, we have been studying Initiation into Spiritism. It's a book by Teresinha de Oliveira. And even if you are an advanced student, it is really important that we all come back to the basics and we share and we learn and remind about important things on Spiritism. So every Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. with the group Divine Light, with the Divine Light group. On Wednesdays, we have fraternal assistance, and this is a time for you. We are here for you and with you. So if you need anything, vent, share, ask for guidance, just talk to someone. We are here for you. Make sure to schedule your time. If this is Wednesdays 4 to 7 is a suggested time, but if you need any other moment, please let us know. We'll make sure that we have someone assigned to talk to you. From 6:30 to 7:30, we started at the end of May. The book Heaven and Hell. It's an amazing book by Allan Kardec. Everybody's welcome to join. On Thursdays, we have from 6:30 to 7:30 the book Living Spring, also an amazing book. Everybody's welcome to join. And every second Thursday of each month, we have an in-person study at the Sacramento area. So again, everybody's welcome to come. This study is followed by prayer and healing service in person. So if you are interested, let us know. We can share with you the address where it will take place. I just learned that soon we will have these meetings taking place at the second and the fourth Thursday of the month. So it should be every other week. Stay tuned for when this is going to really start. So if you're interested, let us know. And on Sundays, we have the service from 10 to 11:30-ish, and 6:30 to 7:30, we have the study of the book Nosso Lar. It started at the beginning of May. Everybody's welcome to join us. Please come. And I am going to introduce you to our speaker today, who is a very special brother of ours. Brian Abil is a founding member of Bezerra Spiritual Healing Center. At an early age, he could see and communicate with spirits. However, he suppressed his spiritual gifts until a life-changing experience caused him to embrace his study of mediumship and healing. In 2005, Brian graduated from Nancy Bradley's Truth and Healing Center as a healing medium. He continued working with her until 2009, and in 2012, Brian began studying mediumship and spiritism with Tanya and Greg Stewart from Brazilian Spiritual Healing. Brian is an environmentalist with over 35 years of experience. Thank you, Brian. Working with various federal, state, local, and private agencies for the protection of California's environment, citizens, and property. Brian is grateful for the divine opportunities, loving and serving God's will, and we are extremely happy to have you here, brother, and he will be talking to us about multiple lives from the Spirit's book. So please, everyone, help me to give him a warm welcome.
Good morning, everyone. I'm going to be doing something different than I normally do, and in doing it, I'm actually going to face a fear of mine. I'm not going to be presenting today with a PowerPoint. I'm going to actually have us go through and read the questions 189 to 199. I have them broken down into 4 sections, and we'll read those sections and then talk about those sections. So bear with me. I'm going to go ahead and share the Spirit's book right now. And all right. Are you able to see the Spirit's book?
Yes, we are.
Okay, I gotta move something so I can at least roll it down. So before I get started, let's just place ourselves somewhere. And let's say that we're camping and we're having this conversation today. And in the center is the Spirit's book. It's the questions 189 to 199. You can think of it maybe as a spirit's book as an object, and we're looking at the object, all of us in this circle. And everybody has the right view. It's just everybody's view is different, depending on where they are in the circle. But together, the view is one, and we have a greater understanding by sharing with each other's perspective as we see it. So that's what I hope to promote today, is interaction as we go through this, to share our thoughts. And as we know, every time that we read through the Spirit's book and all the other books, new thoughts come to our mind, and they come as we increase our awareness, we purify ourselves, we get rid of more of the darkness, and more of the lightness opens up. So I'm hoping that that's all going to happen today. So why don't we go ahead and get right into the Spirit's book with the first question. And Sunshine, can you read 189 through 191, please?
The unmute button was hidden. Okay, 189. From the time it is first formed, does a spirit enjoy the fullness of its faculties? No. Like a human being, a spirit has its infancy. When they first come into being, spirits have no more than an instinctive existence, possessing only the consciousness of themselves and their actions. Their intelligence only develops little by little. 190. What is the state of the soul during its first incarnation? It resembles the state of infancy in corporeal life. Its intelligence is only beginning to unfold. It tries its hand at life. 191. Are the souls of our primitives in a state of spiritual infancy? It is a relative infancy since they are already developed souls endowed with passions. So, do passions indicate development? Development, yes, but not perfection. They are a sign of activity and an awareness of the self. In the very young soul, intelligence and life exist only in a seed-like state.
Oops, sorry.
The life of spirits as a whole follows the same phases as corporeal life. A spirit passes gradually from the embryonic state to that of childhood. Over a succession of periods, it arrives at the adult state, which is that of perfection, but with the difference that there is no decline or decrepitude as in corporeal life. Even though its life had a beginning, it will have no end. And from our point of view, it needs an enormous amount of time to pass from spirit infancy to complete development. Furthermore, its progress does not all occur on our globe only, but on several. The life of the spirit is thus comprised of a series of corporeal existences, each providing an opportunity for progress in the same way that each corporeal existence is comprised of a series of days over which the individual acquires greater experience and knowledge. Nevertheless, just as in human life, there are fruitless days. Likewise, in the life of a spirit, there are corporeal existences that yield no improvement because it did not know how to live them productively.
Thank you.
Welcome.
So, when I read this, what popped out at me was instinctual intelligence, seed, potential. So when we're created, we have the seed of potential. We're actually we're at the purest form because we haven't had those experiences that would jade us. But it's those experiences that jade us at times that can actually cause our growth. And our life experiences that we experience from one life to the next, they're what stimulates the seed. They're what nurtures the seed. They are what helps the seed grow into what it's intended to be, is a pure living spirit. Though we have many existences, and if we were new to this and reading this, for me, I'd be scratching my head. And the way that I can relate to a lot of this is because of actually past life regressions that I've done, as well as the mediumship work with all of you. I've begun to see the unseen, feel the unseen. There's a beautiful book called Many Lives, Many Masters by Brian L. Weiss. And it was in the beginning of my marriage that my aunt in Japan gave it to my wife, who gave it to me to read. And it was about the psychologist who helped people overcome their problems that they've carried from life to life. And it was like that book was, in a way, it was planting a seed of the unseen, the spirit world, what actually takes place. I don't want to say too much about the book, but it's interesting how the psychologist works with the individuals as patients to overcome certain things that happened in a previous life that are affecting them in this life. And once they deal with it in a hypnotic state, the problem just fades. So this seed, it requires many lives. And in the beginning, like the primitives, the emotions start, what comes from these seeds? It comes from sadness, happiness, uh, gratitude, charity, faith, hope, anger. All that comes from this seed about how we choose our free will and acting on ourselves based on the choices that present themselves in front of us and how we want to live our life. And all that from life to life is part of the development, from going from this infancy to this adulthood in the spirit world, similar to what, we go through in each individual life, where in the beginning, when we're a child, like in this lifetime, we just cried and ate and slept. And then we learn how to talk. We start to go through the instinctual intelligence, then the non-reasoning intelligence, which is actually talked about in question 73 or in earlier presentations. But from one life to the next, as we experience these things, we put them all in perspective. We gain this knowledge as well as developing our heart, because now we're beginning to have a consciousness of how these things that occur affect ourselves and how they make us feel and how they affect others. And we begin to put it all in perspective. And so I want to open the floor to hear what comes to mind when you guys heard Sunshine read these 3 questions and answers.
So what comes to mind for myself, thinking as a human being, and is amazing questions, because we normally do not think about that, no? So when you have, from the time it is first formed, does the spirit enjoy the fullness of its faculty? So we all think that is yes, no? We think we already was created like we are right now. So we have no idea that the process of millions or billions of times or years or energy, time and travel in different dimensional world, in different planets, that we are starting to build our spirit, isn't it? And go to the question in Genesis, how was the beginning and the different stages, the mineral, the vegetable state, the animal state, the hominal to start further away, and then where the spirit start, where this intelligence start, no? It is take you to a long, long, long trip. That is what came to mind in the moment. Like, have we ever think about that? Thank you.
In the work that I do, and it's actually picking up right now because there's a big fire here in California and there's homes destroyed, and we'll have to go out and clear household hazardous waste from them. But when the fire is occurring, the response is occurring to put out the fire. And then when the fire goes through, there's this recovery process where we're trying to bring everything back prior to how it was in the fire. But there's the response and the recovery, they kind of overlap each other, just like the instinctual intelligence, the non-reasoning intelligence, and the intelligence of reasoning from one life to the next. Where does one start and where does one stop? They kind of blend together. And but anyway, that's what comes to mind when you were talking for me, Tanya. So how does the campfire look for anybody else? Looking at the object in the center. All right. Well, let's go ahead and move on. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to offer my 2 cents. I don't think at the age at which Spiritism found me, I concerned myself about the time. So much living done without the Spiritist knowledge that the next life has got to be more conscience, got to be full of more awareness and more conscience, because I lived 67 years of unconscious living. And so when I think about multiple times, multiple geographies, planets, of course, I don't worry about it anymore. It's where I'm destined to be.
And that's so true, and how we need to view our corporal and spiritual life is instead of waiting in it constantly, just instead living it, letting it unfold. Yeah.
Again, to have arrived at this minimal level of consciousness and put it into practice for the last 5 or 6 years, that's stunning, considering, again, 6 decades before that, nothing like that. It's not to say I lived an unchristian life. It's that I did live the life without the consciousness of the impacts. And today I have a much better understanding, and I look forward to the next life, whatever it may be. And I would just say this, earlier this week, I heard another presentation and it included the phrase, let go, let God. And boy, how pertinent is that? There's plenty of free will, but this is God's plan.
Mm-hmm. It is. And so completing my thoughts and with this is very important for us to think about when we go to the Genesis on the Bible, and they said the Genesis, in the beginning when God created heavens and earth, the earth was a formless void and darkness covered the face of the deep, while a wind from God sweep over the face of the waters. The God said, let there be light. And there was light. So, and then you see God creates in the Bible, no? In 7 days, they create the earth, the planet earth, the world. So in the first day, there was light. The second day, the atmosphere. And the third day, the land, seas, plants, and plants. The fourth day, the lights and the sky. The fifth day, sea creatures and birds. The sixth day, the land creatures and human. That is not amazing? And then the 7 days they take a break. It is not in harmony with what the Spiritism teaches us.
Junior, instruments. What's that audio?
Sorry. I'm so sorry. My grandson is coming to US and maybe he's arrived. So we think about that, putting together, no? We're putting together the teachings of Spiritism. God does not create the spirit at first. Step by step, the progress, step by step. Thank you.
That's a great segue into 192 and 193 and 194 about the discipline and work that we have to do and the avoidance of some. So, Mark, could you read 192 through 194 for us?
Through perfect conduct in this life, can we hurdle all the degrees and become pure spirits without having passed through the intermediate ones? No, because what humans imagine as perfection is actually very far from it. There are qualities they neither know about nor comprehend. They may be as perfect as their nature permits, but it is not absolute perfection. It is like certain children who, no matter how precocious they may be, must still pass through youth before arriving at maturity. Or ailing individuals who must go through convalescence before recovering their health. Furthermore, spirits must advance in knowledge as well as in morality. And if they have progressed in one sense only, they will have to do so in order to reach the top of the ladder. Nevertheless, the more individuals advance in their present life, the shorter and less painful their subsequent trials will be. Can humans in this life at least assure themselves of a less bitter future existence? Yes, of course. They can reduce the length and difficulties of the path. Only the negligent remain at a standstill. During their new existences, can humans regress to a lower level than the one they have already reached? In social position, yes. As a spirit, no. During a new incarnation, can the soul of a moral individual, okay, where did it go? Can the soul of a moral individual, I lost it.
Sorry, I'm messing up.
Can the soul of a moral individual animate the body of a scoundrel? No, because a spirit cannot regress. Very important. Can the soul of a wicked individual become the soul of a moral one? Yes, if it repents, such would be a reward. The evolution of spirits is progressive and never regressive. They raise themselves gradually through the hierarchy and do not descend from the level they have reached. In their different corporeal lives, they may descend as individuals, but not as spirits. Thus, the soul of a powerful person may later animate a humble artisan, and vice versa. Sorry. Because positions among individuals are frequently the inverse of the elevation of their morality. Herod was a king. Jesus was a carpenter. Mightn't the possibility of improving oneself in another existence lead some persons to persevere on the evil path with the thought that they can always correct themselves later?
Yeah, let's stop at 194, Mark. Sorry.
That's
All right.
okay.
So there's a saying, the long way is a short way, and the short way is the long way. So with the knowledge that we have, which is we have even a greater responsibility, is we know what the unseen world is and the seen world is, and what our obligation is, our responsibilities to grow in knowledge and morality. And when we turn our heads to it, well, eventually we're going to torment ourselves, and we are the cause of our torment. So we can neglect our responsibility, our neglect our the work that we need to do, the education, dedication to changing our ways, developing our heart, developing our mind, developing the knowledge, developing the morality. It's all about advancement and acceptance and not reversing, though we do have that um, social standing, as we know that that can change from one life to another, but it gives us a different perspective for things to experience, like what it is to be rich or what it is to be poor and how to live like that. But we don't reverse it spiritually, is what they're telling us. Um, the more that we learn about spiritism and the charity and forgiveness and compassion, the universal laws, God laws, it gets harder and harder to revert back to our old ways, because I don't know about all of you, but I have a different level of consciousness. I have a different level of acceptance and respect. Um, uh, I have different levels of ways I need to live. And if I don't live those ways that I know I should be living, it just causes me so many problems. But it's up to each of us individually. But together also, like sitting around the campfire and looking at object in the middle, we can each provide each other a perspective on what we see, and we can help each other along the journey. I'm going to go ahead and open the floor for someone else to talk about the questions.
What stuck out for me in what Mark was reading is the importance of having our intelligence be developed alongside our morals, and that is something that can be really hard. And if we look at the world, we see what's lacking, right? And of course, what's lacking outside is also lacking inside. We wouldn't be here if we weren't somehow a match, right, to what's going on outside. So to me, that is really where the rubber meets the road. And everyone spoke to that. How can we, and also Tony's prayer, opening prayer spoke to that. How can we use our hands and feet, starting with our minds and our words, to make a difference, to think kind thoughts, to not take sides, to really let God. So to me, that is really that's really touching me, and it's really important for me. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anybody else before we move on?
Just to echo the earlier comment, it is most comforting that there's no regression of a spirit's advancement. It's most comforting that there's a parallel, as Sunshine just said, of both the educational and the moral, and the opportunities that continually present themselves to apply what it is we have learned, to be different, to make a difference in one or more lives. It's stunning. To have been unconscious for as long as I was, and now to be conscious, is just awesome. And so the next life can only be better in that respect. That's how I view this.
Thank you. Teresa, can you read 195 to 196?
Sure. First, I want to make a comment, though. I think what I was gathering out of those last questions was a reminder about, so much of it is our, the use of our will and our choice, our choosing. And also that we won't be able to judge based on world standards. Just as he's pointing out, Herod was a king and Jesus was a carpenter, but that gives little input as to, the state of their morality. And I think the same is for us, that, and I think it's not an easy task, because here we are, planted on the earth, and there's all these conditionings that have surrounded us, and it's easy to fall into that, of, making judgments or discerning based on worldly ways, so to speak. So anyway, I will read 195 to what number?
196.
Okay. Mightn't the possibility of improving oneself in another existence lead some persons to persevere on the evil path with the thought that they can always correct themselves later? Those who think that way do not really believe anything at all. The idea of eternal punishment no longer restrains them because their reason rejects it. Instead, it leads them to question everything. If only reasonable means were used to guide humans, there would be no such skeptics. During its corporeal life, an imperfect spirit may think as you have stated, but once released from matter, it thinks very differently. It soon perceives that it has calculated badly, and so to make up for it, it will carry an opposite sentiment into its new existence. Progress is accomplished thereby, which is why on the earth there are those who are more advanced than others. Some have already had the experiences that others have yet to go through. The latter acquire such experiences little by little. It depends on each individual to hasten his or her own progress or to delay it indefinitely. Persons who find themselves in a dreadful situation desire to change it as quickly as possible. Those who have convinced themselves that the tribulations of this life are the consequences of their own imperfections will seek to ensure a new existence that is less painful. This thought will draw them away from the path of evil much more readily than the thought of eternal fire, which they know to be pure nonsense. 196.
Yes.
Since spirits can only improve by undergoing the sufferings and tribulations of corporeal existence, does it follow that material life may be seen as a type of sieve or filter through which the beings of the spirit world must pass in order to arrive at perfection? Yes, that is right. They improve during such trials by avoiding evil and practicing the good. However, it is only after many incarnations or successive purifications, and after a longer or shorter lapse of time, that, according to their own efforts, they reach the goal meant for them. Does the body influence the spirit to improve it, or does the spirit influence the body? Your spirit is everything. Your body is a garment that rots. That is all. We have a material image of the various degrees of the soul's purification in the juice of the vine. It contains the liquor called spirits or alcohol, but it is weakened by the large quantity of foreign elements that alter its essence. It only reaches absolute purity after several distillations, each removing a portion of the impurities. The alembic represents the body into which the soul must enter to purify itself. The foreign elements are like the perispirit, which is more and more purified as the spirit approaches perfection.
Thank you.
Mhm.
So there's no stopping it. There's going to be advancement, but our advancement is indicative of how accepting we are for our trials and tribulations. Everything catches up to us, and we'll have to we reap the repercussions in this life or the next if they're bad choices. But we can make the change now. And material things, material life, sometimes we talk about it in a way of where material things could be evil, temptation, but in some ways, it's what's needed in order for us to go through this distillation process, learning process from one life to the next. We need these, a body from one life to the next so that we can experience these material things that we don't experience in the spiritual world. We can have this amnesia from the spirit world when we're in the body to do these things. So it can be more impactful on us and our reflection time when we're in the spirit world. And I don't know how many times we've read certain books where spirits talk about neglecting their responsibilities in the life that they left and realizing the mistakes they made and wish they could have done things different and couldn't wait until they get into a new body in order to make the changes that they know that they need to make. And it's about developing, and Sunshine mentioned it, the heart and the knowledge, the mind. And they're supposed to be developed together like yin and yang, but from one life to the next, we can develop more of the heart than knowledge, and then another life more of the knowledge than the heart. How many great people do we know that are so intelligent that deny God? Who's to say that maybe in the next life they're going to have be born into a religious family and have to experience, God in order to understand God and have it balance out that the morality versus the knowledge that seemed to be overriding in the previous life. We have great responsibilities with the more knowledge that we gain to live up to that morality of how we're supposed to act, and not only to ourselves, but to others as well. So open the floor for discussion. Alrighty then, and we'll go right into the last two questions, 197, 199. The fate of children after death. And Tony, could you read for us?
Sure. So the fate of children and after death is the spirit of a child who dies very young, as advanced as that of an adult. Sometimes much more so because the child may have had more existences and may have therefore acquired more experiences, especially if he or she has progressed. Then can the spirit of a child be more evolved than that of its parents? That is very frequently the cause. Haven't you yourself often witnessed it? Does the spirit of a child who dies very young without having done any evil belong to the higher degrees? If such a child has done nothing evil, it had also done nothing good. God does not relieve such a spirit of the trials it must undergo. If it is pure, it is not because it was a child, but because it was already advanced. Why is life so often cut short in childhood? The length of a child's life can be, for its spirit, the remainder of a former life that had been cut short before its due term. Moreover, the death of a child is often a trial or an expiation for the parents. What becomes of the spirit of a child who dies very young? It begins a new existence. If humans had only one life to live, and if afterwards their fate were sealed for all eternity, why would half the human species who died while very young deserve to enjoy eternal bliss without having lived a full life of effort? And by what right would they be exempt from the oft so painful conditions imposed on the other half? Such an order of things could not be in accord with the justice of God. For reincarnation, absolute justice is the same for all. The future belongs
The future belongs to all. Did we lose you, Tony?
Oh, there it is. Okay. I
Okay.
think such an order of things could not be in accord with the justice of God. Through reincarnation, absolute justice is the same for all. The future belongs to all, without exception and without favoritism. And those who arrive last will have only themselves to blame. Individuals must have the merit of their actions, for which they are justly responsible.
When I first started doing life regressions to find out, what my life was like in previous lifetimes, and I focused on how things were and what I did right or what I did wrong, or at least how I perceived it, and um, then I would try to rationalize why my life is the way it is now because of that. Today, when I read and then hear someone else read these three questions, I think about the age of death does not dictate spiritual advancement when previous life does. So, irregardless if the child dies early or later, or the parents die earlier or later, the ones who survive, we need to live through that trial, need to live through that trial, that tribulation, because we're going to learn from that experience. Because someone died doesn't mean that they were a bad person. But it might be preset that they're supposed to die a certain way because of how they lived their previous life. What's most important is not about now what has happened in the previous lives. It's about current, present. What are we going to do now with this life so that we can sow something better for us, for more advanced growth from one life to the next? I'm going to open the floor for others to talk about these questions.
I'm going to offer another perspective. I've read previously multiple times, the death of a child is often a trial or an expiation for the parents. And in today's society, that's probably truer than ever before. But there was a time, and I might call it before technology, 60s and 70s style, where families tended to be geographically near each other as opposed to separated by long distances. And so when there was a death of a child, there was an in-person experience, especially with larger families. Grief was openly shared, not just for the parents, but everybody, because it was family. And I was reflecting as Teresa was, or I'm sorry, as this was being read by Tony, I was reflecting on 3 different childhood deaths during my youth. And this reality of it was lessons for everyone. From beyond the obvious question of how would you feel if you were the parent? It's more spiritual than that. Reflecting on those 3 children as individual spirits, those 6 parents as as individual spirits, and then the rest of the family, aunts and uncles and cousins and second cousins and grandparents and so on, all materially impacted, especially when you had large funerals and large graveside ceremonies, church ceremonies. The impact was huge, and it was an expiation for many. That's my perspective.
I just wanted to share, because I've been reading this book. It's an anthroposophy book, but it's about discarnating. And there's a part about when children die, and I just thought it was really beautiful. It's just a paragraph I'm going to read you because I felt it was, I don't know, it's hard to say to somebody, you got to let go. It just can be really hard thing. So this is what was written. It is not about letting the child go. What mother, what father could let go of their beloved child? It is about finding out what this child's message was to you, how it changed you, how much love has grown in you. What, therefore, did your child draw out of you in love? How much new love has grown in you? Your searching will help you to pick up your child's imprint and carry it forward. I don't know. I just thought it was a softer way of talking about losing a child. And it basically comes back around, but it just asks the question in a different light. Thanks.
It's actually beautiful.
Yeah, very beautiful. It's the invitation, really. My whole childhood was covered by the cloud of my brother dying. I had a younger brother. I have a younger brother who is alive, but I had another brother, and he died as a baby. And I never got to see him, unfortunately, which was my pain. But I'm not sure my parents really navigated it. It drove them further and further apart. Even though they knew anthroposophy, they were following it. And yeah, so to really see it with perspective, that's all I can say. So I know the pain of it, having lived through it. And not so much my personal pain that I lost this brother who I never met because he was only in the hospital. But to see my parents, yeah, anyway, thank you.
I think it's so much easier for us as spiritists too, because we don't, this thing about death in childhood, like cut short, that is its life, like it is its full life. And that we don't see, we recognize, spirits are not the age of their body, So I don't know I think that's consoling for us to have an understanding of that. I think your average person doesn't. They don't approach it that way either. And they feel that there's some like injustice that this child's life should not, be granted until their 80s or 90s, So
Exactly. Who actually knows it was cut short? It's just
exactly. That is its life.
That's
That is its life, or
exactly.
yeah. Thank you.
Mhm.
Well, thank you everyone for participating today. Hopefully, this has given you another way of thinking about these questions, and enlightened you in a more of a light. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. I really enjoyed this format. Thank you. It's very good.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you so much for doing this. I know that you are on the field doing a lot of things, so we do appreciate having this format. I also like that because I kept reflecting today. I was a little bit more quiet than usual, just because I'm in a introspective moment, and I appreciate all the thoughts that you shared and reflections that you invited me. So thank you, brother. Does anyone have any additional questions or comments?
Well, the comment that I had would have been for like in the very beginning part of it, where I just remember when I was younger, I just wanted to go home. And home wasn't my parents, right? It was like I wanted to be with God. And I wanted to I don't know, it was just this innate feeling inside of me that just wanted to be somewhere other than the physical plane here. You know, I just kept feeling like that. No matter how good I felt, how much fun I was having, I always felt like God, some form of God was missing, you know. But anyway, that's what I wanted to say earlier, but I missed my opportunity.
All right. I think, oh, Kiki, you're still here. Okay.
Yeah, I'm still here. Yeah, I gotta go, but I'm still here. I can't stop live streaming. Oh, I can't. I can't anymore. I think now I can. Yeah, and I'll see you all. Thank you.
Okay. Take care.
Thank you, Kiki.
Any other thoughts or comments? Thank you, Brian. Outstanding approach. Thank you, everyone, for your contributions, too. We are on time. How about that? Let's take 2 or 3 minutes, grab some water, and come back, and we'll do meditation.
Hey, Sunshine, is today the that healing session?
Oh my goodness, yes.
Yeah, because you know, I sign up for it every time, but I never receive anything. Do you have the link?
Yeah, I'll pull it up and send it, forward it to you. The other thing is, I don't think you need to sign up anymore. It's
Oh,
simply clicking on it because a lot of people had issues with it. I'll look up and let you know in a minute, okay?
yeah.
Reminding
Maybe
me
just
to only
put it
spend-
on WhatsApp. Maybe can you put the link on WhatsApp? Yeah,
Sure.
thank you.
Yeah.
Regina Sunshine, I have only the audio of Greg's voice for the meditation. I do not have the visual portion.
I think it's on the website.
Uh-huh. Okay. Going now.
Mm.
Ah, you're right. That's too easy.
Oh, and where did Teresa? Teresa, it was last Sunday. We missed it.
Oh, bummer. Too bad. Okay, thank you for looking.
Yeah, you're welcome. And it's just simply a join Zoom meeting click now. So it's easy. Did you get it, Mark? Otherwise,
I got it.
Right.
I gotta find it. There it is. Regina, you want to lead this at the end?
Yes, no problem.
Thank you.
It says it's on mute though.
I know I haven't started.
Oh,
I'm getting my settings proper. There we go. All right. If everybody would calm themselves, maybe close your eyes if you're not driving.
Welcome to the Virtual Passes Room. Emmanuel, the spirit mentor of Chico Xavier, once stated that thought is life. Thus, we can create the healing mental state right here and now. In preparation for the virtual passes, we would kindly recommend the following. Breathe deeply, slowly, calmly, and confidently. Concentrate on positive thoughts, thereby avoiding negative ones. Silently evoke God's protection as well as Jesus. Also pray to your guardian angel. And always be ready to pray. Let us begin this passes session by praying as our guide and model, Jesus Christ, has taught us with the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who is in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our debts, as we also have forgiven our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Now, let us feel that small points of suffering, bitterness, sadness, anger, deception, disappear from your mind to not return. Like aged leaves that are shed from trees, let go of those feelings that no longer serve you. And gently, but most assuredly, discard them. Let the wind of life carry them so far away that they are unable to return and recreate their negative link. Little by little, your emotional tree sheds its negative feelings, becoming clean and ready for its renovation. Without the weight of those dead leaves, you feel lighter and are able to feel the gentle water of life now abundantly falling onto your physical body, spiritual body, and soul. This water cleans, disinfects, purifies, deconstructs, and tones all the cells of your body. Nothing can escape its renewing action. At the same time it is cleaning and moisturizing your body, this crystalline liquid satiates your spirit, eliminating affliction, anxiety, and unrest. Now within your heart resides a sense of calmness, cleanness, and well-being. Then the light of God emerges to warm and snuggle you, while caring rays penetrate your whole body and tenderly embrace you like a maternal hug, which brings comfort and safety to your heart. At this moment, great love warms your heart and removes the coldness resulting from any affliction. Now, your mind contains only feelings of joy and confidence. You are at peace and enveloped by a protective warmth. The heart of life offers you perfumed flowers. Then, with a grateful and happy soul, You gather their colorful petals that penetrate your whole being, restoring feelings and emotions of happiness, hope, faith, courage, and determination, helping you to regain the willingness to live. In addition to the perfume and color, nature also shares with you the best it has to offer, an infinite capacity for restoring its sublime beauty, even when struck by evil that appears to enact its end. Divine hands full of light gently overflow and spill over you like a golden waterfall of unspeakable and unknown essence. Little by little, your soul is impregnated with sweet happiness, allowing an inner renewal of the most noble and elevated purposes, that of progress and accomplishment. Showered by this sublime power, you deeply surrender to the donor of light, absorbing energy that now gives your life a new and blessed impulse. You called me, and here I am. What do you want from me today? What do you need? Ask, my son. Ask, my daughter. I am here to help. Now, ask your special request to Jesus, enumerating the problems and difficulties that afflict you. I listen to your request with love and attention. Now I count on your faith and trust in me to solve your problems. Go in peace. I am watching over you, and I will not lose sight of you. Believe in God and also believe in me. I will be with you every day until the end. Be happy. Many blessings.